Hi guys, this is the advisor and welcome back to my channel. By now, everybody should have heard that Dr. Nigel Clarke has been poached by the IMF and will be leaving Jamaica soon to take up a post with the International Monetary Fund. Now, it doesn't seem that most people in Jamaica really realize what just happened, But this piece of news, or this that is about to happen, is probably one of the most mind-blowing, earth-wrenching news that could ever happen to this country. It has the deepest implications for Jamaica's future, and I can say that. As a matter of fact, it's going to have some severe impact on the rest of the world. And this is no exaggeration. I want people to understand that. Before I go any further, I need to say this though. This video, I'm not making it to make no money. Anyway, I am not making any money from my videos now anyway. That's why I feel safer just speaking the truth. Now, I know when I make my videos, you see, guys, I don't take a political side. I just take the side of the truth. So if there is any laborite or any comrade here who don't like what I'm saying, it's because you don't love no country. And you can't face facts and you can't face reality because you're too immersed in a tribalist ways. And me can't bother with that. So when I'm saying something and I said any facts and you can't handle it, just move on. There are many other videos you can watch where you can go and fool yourself and pretend that reality is not reality. One more thing. My videos are normally around 18 minutes long. Virtually all of them. And there is a method, there's a reason for that. Most of the things I'm presenting needs roughly that time for me to go through everything and teach people things. My videos are roughly separated into 3 segments. The first 4 minutes introduces the person to the topic, lays the foundation for the message, and it contextualizes it and help the listener or viewer best to understand what I'm about to say. The second segment lasts about 10 minutes. This is where I lay out all the known facts, provide all the evidence and other data that I took into consideration in making the presentation. And finally, the last 4 minutes is the conclusion. This is where I sum it all up and extrapolate it to reach the conclusion. So there's a specific and logical and rational basis on my presentation on most of my videos. Of course, there are some videos which doesn't call for that, and I don't do it. And it's not necessary to do it in that fashion. Now, on to Dr. Nigel Clarke. Here are the reasons why Dr. Clarke leaving the Ministry of Finance is going to have the most likely, I wouldn't say going to, is likely to have the most devastating effects on Jamaica's future. First of all, let's look at what Dr. Nigel Clarke has, or how Jamaica has, under his stewardship as Minister of Finance. Now, I'm not going to go into a whole lot with a whole pile of statistics. But put it this way. Since 2018, when Dr. Clarke became the Minister of Finance, Jamaica's economy has grown between 1.9 and 2.2% annually, year and year and year. It has grown so high that the Jamaica's GDP is expected to reach 19.71 billion US dollar by the end of 2024. And there's not nobody in Jamaica said that. This is an international body known as the trading and global economics. Under his stewardship, Jamaica's international net reserve have for the first time, it has reached the highest it can ever be under his stewardship of US 5 billion, heading for close to 6 billion United States dollars as our international net reserves. It has never been this high in Jamaica's entire history. Since this man has been heading that ministry, there has been no new taxes. Imagine not being taxed since 2016. Oh, and then some of you might ask, how may I talk about 2016 when me tell you I'm going in at 2018? Well, I tell you this. A lot of people don't know, but even though Dr. Clarke officially took up the Ministry of Finance in 2018, he had been Ambassador at Large for Economic Affairs within the Office of the Prime Minister since 2016, and he had been running the ministry from 2016. Yeah, so he was doing that under the quiet from even before and was having effect from before that. Now, I don't want to list the amount of hurdles and new and to show how high that man has raised the bar. But basically, I am not saying this based on anything but the facts, the objective facts. Not how I feel, not out of who I love or hate or care for or no prejudice, just the hard, cold facts. You know, and I don't even want to call this man the best finance minister that Jamaica ever had, because it leaves a sour taste in my mouth. No, I have heard people say, I've heard people in Jamaica refer to Minister of Finance in a previous regime as the best finance minister Jamaica has ever seen. As a matter of fact, some even say he was the best finance minister that the world has ever seen. And who was that man? That man was Omar Davies. Omar Davies was the man who sell Alpart to foreigners, sell out Jamalco to foreigners, sell out St. Ann Bauxite Limited in a Discovery Bay to foreigners, and sell out Kirkvine, Windalco to foreigners. Causing all of that money and most of the proceeds of those monies to go overseas. This was the man who sell out Bernard Lodge, etc., etc. We could go on. There is Cement Company, there is JPS, there is Flour Mill, there is Air Jamaica, and there is our Air Jamaica slot in Heathrow. And I could go on because the list is so long. And Jamaica's economy shrunk year and year and year. He taxed Jamaica to the extent that the only thing he could tax after a few years was two things: alcohol and cigarette. And he lived by alcohol and cigarette. Today, I think about 80% of the cost of a cigarette that you smoke is tax. Because tax and cigarette was the only two things left for Omar Davies tax, which nobody never had a ball pan. Live pan them. And this man was referred to by some people as the best finance minister Jamaica has ever had. So it still leaves a sour taste in my mouth. So I wouldn't use that term for this minister. I would just say, good job. Good job, Mr. Nigel Clarke. This man, since him come in, not one tax was levied on any Jamaican citizen. Pensions raised, salaries raised. I mean, I could go on, but overall, it's a good look. It's a good look. Of course, some of us so immersed and steeped so deeply in our tribalism that him now get no credit for that, because it's not about Jamaica, it's about party. Yeah, it's about party. And from my party I do it, then me not gonna praise nobody who I do nothing good for you, so unless I'm from my party. But those are not patriots. Those are just party supporters who are quite prepared to perk Jamaica enough for them party in a power. Or somebody in there that wear the color shirt where them like. I can't be like that. Because right now, I can tell plain that if Nigel Clarke was a comrade, he would have get the same praises from me for his work. But hold on, guys, there's a bigger thing. Remember, I'd said at the beginning of this video that this is about that his living has international and worldwide implications. Well, this is where I'm going to let you understand that. There is a country which I dare not call its name because it is that evil. But I always refer to it as the perfect parasite. Now, the organization that Nigel Clarke is going to, the IMF, is owned by the perfect parasite. Note also that the World Bank is owned by the perfect parasite. The United Nations is run by the perfect parasite. And now when them take Nigel Clarke from we, he is likely to now go work for the perfect parasite. Yes, because at the end of the day, the perfect parasite control the IMF. Now, the IMF, some of us might not know, is an oppressive body. The IMF was put in place to oppress every black person in the world, along with the World Bank. And I don't want to make this long, but here is the facts. All of the former slave masters, France, Britain, Spain, Portugal, Switzerland, Italy, and all the other members of Europe, all the other countries in Europe who used to oppress and keep down Africa, who is still keeping down Africa, they use the IMF and the World Bank to do it. And they use the IMF to keep back Jamaica also. Here is how they keep back Jamaica, and how I'm going to tie it in back to Nigel Clarke's entry into the IMF now. You see, when the IMF give Africa or Caribbean countries a loan, they give you the loan and tell you, say, take the loan. Don't build no school to educate the people. Don't buy no medicine with it for make your people strong and healthy. Don't buy no new bed and fit into your hospital. Don't build no new factory. Don't build no new road with the money. They set you a string of what they call structural adjustments. In other words, use the money, take the money and F it up, and can't pay way back, so that we can lend you more money, and we keep sucking out your money for the rest of your life and keep you oppressed. That is the purpose of the IMF and the World Bank. And it's all done under the instructions and guidance of the perfect parasite. When you get a loan, when Jamaica or any African country or any third world country in the world gets a loan from the IMF, they give you the loan at an extremely high rate, 18-19%, which you cannot pay back. And if you want to build a factory so that you can expand your base and start developing your country, them don't want you to do that with the money, because you will become too independent. Tell you plain, don't do nothing good for help your country with the money. So by doing those things, they use the IMF to mash up black people and keep us subjugated and keep them knee in our neck. And all of this is directed by the perfect parasite. Now, when Nigel Clarke has caused us to be lifting ourselves out of this economic straitjacket that they put us in, at the same time, when they're giving loans to the white people, the Europeans, the former slave masters, them give them 1 or 2% on the loan, or give them the loan at no interest at all. So the rich people who are suck out the poor black people get the loan at 0% or maybe a maximum of 4% or so, 3%. We get 16 to 18% because, and here is the logic that they use now. You are poor, you go and mismanage the money, you won't be able to pay it back, or you'll have a harder time pay it back. Even though at them make you can't pay it back, you know. Remember that. But they say you can't pay it back, and since you can't pay it back, we have a bigger risk with you. Here what we are going to do. Figure it at a higher rate because a bigger risk we are taking. No. When they see things going on and Nigel Clarke doing all of this good, what do you think they do? Them are going to want him. They cannot stand to see Jamaica have such a man doing such good for Jamaica. So them have two choices. Either kill him or take him away. So they took him. Because what? Him too good for Jamaica. Now there are two reasons why they would have taken him. Two reasons. And it's either one or the other. But it can't be both. They cannot stand to know that Jamaica can rise out of the place where they want to keep it. So they want to take him and see if them can either turn him against us or keep him where them can watch him, where him can do no damage. I mean, when we say damage, them see it as a damage if him go help any third world country to rise. So them take him, pay him a big salary, keep him aside where them can monitor him and give him little water boy work for do. Another possibility at the same time though, which is the second possibility. Remember that the BRICS alliance is coming well up there and is posing an existential threat to the perfect parasite and its allies. Soon the IMF will have no influence and the World Bank will have no influence anywhere in the world, as everybody is heading towards BRICS. The other possibility is that knowing this now and seeing Nigel Clarke's work, they decide to say, let's take Nigel Clarke and let him teach us what he has been doing for third world country, what he has been doing for Jamaica, so we can duplicate that in other third world countries to make ourselves more attractive to third world countries. Because remember, you know, they have always been parasites and they cannot think beyond their nature. They are parasites. So they couldn't fix anything that could do anything good for a third world country. Therefore, they would want to take somebody like Nigel Clarke who can think, who have that kind of mindset. Because another nature, you know, and another nature of the IMF or anybody to them to ever think about doing anything. They are good. They are oppressors. They are parasites, literally parasites. Then coming like chink. And for you non-Jamaicans who don't know what a chink is a bed bug. So chances are they take Nigel Clarke in the hope that Nigel Clarke, with that kind of mindset, would be able to show them what to do to make themselves more attractive to the third world countries. Now that every third world country go over to BRICS. In other words, they are trying to make the IMF and the World Bank look more attractive or give it a human face. Whether they want to take Nigel Clarke either to become just to keep him away from doing good for Jamaica, or they want to take him to change the ethos of their activities in the IMF. Either way, they see him as a threat. Or if they don't see him as a threat, they see him as an asset that the IMF could never do without. If they hope to move away from their parasitic ways. Either way, guys, we have lost a good one. We have lost a very good one. And I have no idea who they may put in his place, but whoever they put in his place, he has raised the bar so high that it is, as Mother say, impossible for them to put in anybody who can do half as good as Nigel Clarke. But we can just wait and see. Guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for visiting my channel. Like, share, leave a comment below, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.